Hello, my classy ladies. Today we are stepping into the heart of something many women quietly wonder about but rarely speak openly: how to look old money on a budget. Not how to imitate wealth, not how to chase an aesthetic, but how to create an atmosphere around yourself that feels calm, refined, and deeply self-assured without spending beyond your means. True elegance has never belonged to those who simply buy expensive things. It belongs to those who understand intention. And intention begins with the very first rule. Rule 1. Choose quiet fabrics and let texture speak instead of price. Clothing speaks long before you do. The texture of a garment, the way it falls, the way it absorbs or reflects light, the weight you feel on your shoulders when you put it on. All of these details whisper something about the woman wearing it. Old money style is built on fabrics that feel lived, grounded, and timeless. Fabrics that soften the silhouette without collapsing it, that drape with intention rather than cling. Fabrics that look expensive even when they cost very little. On a budget, the most powerful decision you can make is choosing textiles that imitate the calm, effortless presence of wealth. You do not need pure cashmere or heavy silk to look refined. What you need is an understanding of texture, weight, and finish. When you reach for a sweater, allow your fingers to linger for a moment. Feel the fiber. A lightweight merino blend can look indistinguishable from high-end knitwear if the weave is tight and the surface has that subtle matte finish. Even an affordable wool blend can elevate your look when the fibers feel smooth rather than fuzzy. The fabric should feel like it belongs to you, not like it demands attention. Old money elegance avoids shine unless the shine is natural. This is a subtle truth that not many people understand. Expensive fabrics rarely gleam in a harsh, artificial way. They glow softly, the way silk diffuses light, the way wool absorbs it, the way linen breathes beneath it. A fabric that glitters or reflects light too strongly instantly reveals its price. But a fabric with a muted, gentle surface looks refined even if it came from an accessible brand. When you learn to sense the difference, your wardrobe begins to transform. One of the loveliest qualities of quiet fabrics is the emotional atmosphere they create around you. A soft knit in oatmeal or cream feels like calm. A wool blend coat in stone or camel feels like discipline wrapped in warmth. A linen shirt in crisp ivory brings a sense of breathability and ease to your presence. When you choose these fabrics, your entire demeanor becomes quieter, slower, more grounded. You begin to carry yourself with the kind of unself-conscious elegance that old money wardrobes are known for. On a budget, you must also learn to avoid the materials that betray the look instantly. Fabrics that cling too tightly, that wrinkle harshly, that shimmer with the wrong kind of sheen. The elegant woman on a budget becomes a master of saying no. She understands that refinement has nothing to do with the number of garments she owns, and everything to do with how they behave when worn. A single sweater chosen with care has more power than 10 tops purchased without intention. When you learn to select quiet fabrics, you begin dressing not with the desire to impress, but with the desire to align with your own inner standard. You stop reaching for pieces that shout. You start reaching for pieces that soothe. This shift is subtle but transformative. Imagine the difference between a bright synthetic blouse that catches the light anxiously and a soft knit cream sweater that hugs the body with quiet warmth. One feels frantic, the other feels composed. One demands attention, the other invites calm. That calm is the essence of old money style. Texture is equally important. Expensive clothing often has a tactile richness. Coats with weight that drapes beautifully. Sweaters with softness that feels lived in rather than new. Linen that softens with every wash. Cotton that holds its structure without stiffness. When you choose garments with texture that feels intentional, you create a wardrobe that looks curated rather than collected. The fabric becomes part of your identity, part of your presence, part of your storytelling. Color deepens this effect. Quiet fabrics pair beautifully with quiet colors. Cream, camel, charcoal, soft navy, muted olive, warm beige. These tones make even budget fabrics feel elevated. When the fabric is calm and the color is refined, the garment looks far more expensive than it is. This is the secret old money wardrobes have always relied on. Not complexity, not excess, not decoration. Harmony. And harmony begins with the sense of touch. That is the heart of Rule 1. Let your hands guide you. Feel before you buy. Ask yourself what energy the fabric carries. Does it feel frantic or composed? Does it feel thin or intentional? Does it feel like something that belongs to the woman you are becoming? When the answer is yes, even the simplest garment becomes luxurious. Quiet fabrics are a love letter to the woman who chooses them. They remind her that luxury begins in how she feels, not how she spends. They bring stillness to her morning routine, grounding to her posture, confidence to her silence. When she enters a room wearing a garment that drapes well, that breathes, that absorbs light gently, people feel something refined before she ever speaks. Looking old money on a budget is simply an act of choosing fabrics that behave with dignity. Clothing that does not shout, textures that align with your inner calm, neutrals that soften your silhouette, weight that carries your presence with grace. And when you master this first rule, everything else you wear becomes easier. Because once the fabric is right, the woman wearing it begins to feel right. She begins to feel like elegance is her natural state, not something she is trying to create. Now, let us move to the next rule, where elegance becomes not just something you wear, but something you sculpt into your clothing itself. Rule 2. Tailoring is your secret wealth. There is a truth about old money style that many women overlook, simply because it has nothing to do with shopping. True elegance is not bought, it is shaped, sculpted, refined. Tailoring is the quiet transformation that turns an inexpensive garment into something that looks like it belongs in a curated, generational wardrobe. It is the difference between clothing that hangs on you and clothing that becomes part of you. And if you want to look old money on a budget, understanding tailoring is one of the most powerful skills you will ever cultivate. When you look at women who embody quiet luxury, their clothing almost never overwhelms them. Nothing looks too big, too long, too loose, or too tight. Every line seems to follow the body with a gentle precision. Blazers skim the shoulders with quiet structure. Trousers create a clean, uninterrupted line from waist to hem. Sleeves end exactly where they should, not a centimeter above or below. Even a simple knit appears intentional when it sits correctly on the body. This is not an accident, it is tailoring. Even in the wealthiest circles, women rarely buy clothing that fits perfectly straight off the rack. They buy clothing with potential, and they refine that potential. A coat that feels slightly too long becomes elegant when shortened just enough to create proportion. A pair of trousers that gape at the waist becomes instantly sophisticated when brought in. A blazer with slightly soft shoulders becomes structured, sharp, and polished when tailored to hug the body without squeezing it. Tailoring is the great equalizer. It removes all traces of price. A well-tailored coat from an affordable brand can look far more expensive than a designer coat worn straight off the hanger. Because elegance is not found in the label. It is found in the line, in the way the garment follows the body, in the stillness and confidence the fit creates. When you invest in tailoring, even your most budget-friendly pieces begin to behave differently. The neckline of a blouse sits flat instead of pulling. The waistline of a skirt hugs your shape without restricting your movement. The hem of a trouser grazes the top of your shoe with quiet intention. These details are invisible to the untrained eye, yet they have a profound psychological effect on the woman wearing them. You stand taller. You move smoother. You feel composed. Tailoring doesn't just change the garment, it changes you. There is also something deeply feminine about tailoring. It honors the shape of your body instead of forcing you to conform to mass-market measurements. It acknowledges your proportions, your posture, your subtle curves. Old money style has always valued individuality, expressed through subtlety, and tailored clothing carries that identity perfectly. When something fits you beautifully, it looks refined without needing decoration or trend. The garment itself becomes understated luxury. Tailoring also allows you to express restraint, one of the key elements of old money elegance. Instead of buying new pieces every season, you refine what you already own. You elevate rather than replace. A coat from last year becomes a perfect classic with a few adjustments. A dress you haven't worn because something felt off becomes one of your most flattering pieces once the fit aligns with your body. There is something almost poetic about giving new life to a garment through such a subtle, quiet act of care. But tailoring also requires honesty. Not every garment can be saved. Some fabrics are too synthetic to hold a new shape. Some designs lack the structure needed for refinement. Some pieces are simply not worth the investment. Elegance demands the ability to see which garments have potential and which do not. A garment with clean seams, good fabric weight, and simple construction will almost always transform beautifully. But a piece built from flimsy fabric or overly complicated stitching will resist refinement. This is part of the discipline that old money dressing teaches, knowing when to choose a piece and when to walk away, knowing when something deserves tailoring and when it does not. Elegance is not just about beautiful clothing. It is about making choices that respect your time, your standards, and your future wardrobe. Tailoring also teaches you the value of proportion. If the shoulders of a blazer are slightly too wide, the entire silhouette looks borrowed rather than owned. If the sleeves are too long, the garment looks neglected. If the waist of a coat sits too low, the body loses its natural balance. A tailor can correct these details, sculpting a garment to complement your posture and presence. And presence is the heart of old money style. A perfectly proportioned outfit creates an aura of calm that cannot be faked. Tailoring is your secret wealth because it gives you something money cannot buy: harmony. You create clothing that serves your presence rather than overwhelming it. You create proportion, structure, and softness that feel naturally luxurious. You create a wardrobe that looks curated instead of collected. Most importantly, you create a personal standard that remains stable no matter the price of the garment. When you begin tailoring your clothing, you realize that looking old money has nothing to do with logos or status. It has everything to do with respect. Respect for your body, respect for your wardrobe, respect for your own sense of elegance. Rule 3. Color discipline creates quiet luxury. There is a reason old money wardrobes feel so immediately recognizable. It is not because of logos or labels. It is not because of elaborate design. It is because of color. Quiet luxury lives in the restraint and harmony of a carefully curated palette. When a woman understands color discipline, her entire wardrobe begins to look more expensive, more refined, more deliberate. This principle has nothing to do with money and everything to do with emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Color is the first language of elegance. Before anyone notices the fabric, before they observe the shape, before they register the details of an outfit, they sense the color. It creates an atmosphere around you, an aura of calm or chaos, depending on how you choose. Old money style relies on shades that feel rooted, quiet, and timeless. These tones soften the silhouette, elevate the skin, and create a sense of continuity that makes every outfit feel intentional. Color discipline begins with understanding that not every color is meant to serve your elegance. When you dress on a budget, you cannot afford for your palette to be chaotic. Every piece must work with everything else, creating a wardrobe that feels cohesive and mature. When your palette is consistent, even the most affordable garment looks elevated. Neutrals blend effortlessly. Shadows and tones create depth. Your clothing stops competing with itself and begins working together. Imagine a wardrobe grounded in shades of cream, beige, charcoal, navy, ivory, chocolate, soft gray, and muted olive. These colors feel stable, grounded, and sophisticated. They echo the tones of nature: stone, sand, wool, wood, shadow. They do not shout, they do not demand attention. They allow you to lead the moment rather than the garment. When these colors come together in an outfit, the entire look feels more expensive simply because it is harmonious. Color discipline creates quiet luxury by removing visual noise. When every piece in your wardrobe belongs to the same atmosphere, even a simple sweater looks deliberate. A coat feels more refined. A pair of trousers appears more tailored. The elegance is not in the price, but in the unity of the palette. And this unity is what old money wardrobes have always understood instinctively. They avoid the chaos of trend colors. They avoid anything too bright, too neon, too saturated. The goal is not to stand out, but to blend into an environment of calm refinement. Color discipline also means recognizing the shades that betray your sophistication. Bright synthetic reds, loud purples, neon greens, glossy blacks, overly saturated blues. These colors can make even the most expensive fabrics look inexpensive. They flatten the silhouette. They break harmony. They create tension rather than calm. A woman who wants to look old money on a budget must learn to avoid these traps, not because the colors are inherently wrong, but because they disrupt the stillness that quiet luxury depends on. There is something deeply psychological about dressing in colors that soothe rather than stimulate. When you wear soft neutrals, your movements slow, your gestures feel more intentional. Your posture aligns naturally. This is because your clothing stops pulling attention away from you. It becomes a frame instead of a spotlight. And old money elegance has always been about the woman, her presence, her calm, her confidence, not the garment. Choosing a restrained palette also gives depth to your wardrobe. Every piece becomes more versatile. A cream blouse can pair with charcoal, navy, chocolate, or camel. A navy coat can be worn over gray, ivory, or stone. A pair of tailored taupe trousers can integrate into outfits across every season. This adaptability is part of what makes old money wardrobes appear so effortless. The elegance comes not from owning many garments, but from owning garments that can create countless refined combinations. When you begin practicing color discipline, you also develop an eye for undertones. You notice that cream with a yellow undertone sends a different message than cream with a pink undertone. You recognize when a beige leans too warm or too gray. You sense the difference between a rich chocolate and a flat brown. This awareness is one of the deepest signs of elegance. Old money style is about refinement, and refinement comes from sensitivity to subtlety. Color discipline also allows you to express your femininity in a way that feels mature rather than girlish. Soft blush, muted rose, warm oatmeal, gentle sand, deep espresso, these tones speak to a woman who embraces softness with discretion. She does not need to announce her femininity through bright colors. She expresses it through warmth, texture, and quiet elegance. The budget no longer matters because the palette carries all the refinement. And there is another psychological truth at play. A consistent palette makes you look like a woman who knows herself, a woman who understands her taste, a woman whose style is not influenced by trends but anchored in her own identity. People sense this. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. Consistency reads as confidence. Confidence reads as luxury. When you adopt color discipline, your wardrobe begins transforming from the inside out. Pieces chosen last year blend seamlessly with pieces chosen tomorrow. The closet stops feeling overwhelming. The mixing and matching becomes effortless, and you start to see how elegance is not about quantity or price. It is about harmony. Looking old money on a budget is not something you achieve by chance. It is something you create through intentional choices. And color is one of the most powerful choices you will ever make. The right palette elevates every fabric, every silhouette, every movement. It gives your wardrobe a quiet language that says refinement without ever saying a word. Rule 4. Presence, posture, and restraint are more luxurious than any brand. There is a moment in every elegant woman's life when she discovers something profound. She realizes that expensive clothing cannot compensate for a lack of presence, and affordable clothing does not diminish a woman who carries herself with quiet confidence. This is the secret that old money families have understood for generations. Elegance is not worn, it is embodied. It is carried in the way a woman moves, the way she speaks, the way she holds herself, the way she enters a room without the slightest rush, without any need to impress. Presence is the invisible luxury that makes every outfit look more expensive. A woman with presence creates an atmosphere around herself. She does not have to perform. She does not seek validation. She does not dress as a costume or an aesthetic. She dresses as a reflection of the calm she chooses to cultivate. Her elegance does not come from the garment. It comes from the relationship she has with herself. Even in the simplest outfit, her presence makes her look refined. Posture plays an enormous role in this. Old money women are often remembered not for their clothes, but for their posture, the quiet strength in their shoulders, the softness in their hands, the effortless alignment of their spine. A well-tailored coat looks even more elegant when worn by a woman who stands with natural poise. A simple knit appears more luxurious when her movements are slow, intentional, graceful. Posture is not about rigidity. It is about presence. It is an expression of inner steadiness. When you stand tall without stiffness, your entire outfit transforms. The way a woman walks can determine whether she looks expensive or rushed. Old money elegance favors slow, grounded movement. You do not need to drift across a room with exaggerated grace. You simply move with intention, with awareness, with softness. You do not fidget, you do not rush, you do not apologize with your body. There is a quiet self-possession in elegant movement, the kind that lets even a simple coat look like it belongs in a curated wardrobe. Restraint is another core element of old money style. It is the ability to choose simplicity even when extravagance is available. It is the confidence to say no. It is the maturity to understand that elegance is not in what you add, but in what you refuse. A woman who practices restraint becomes visually expensive because she eliminates noise. She avoids the elements that disrupt her calm. Loud prints, excessive embellishment, trend-driven shapes. She chooses with clarity, and clarity is deeply luxurious. Restraint also means knowing when to stop. A beautiful coat does not need a dramatic bag. A refined blouse does not need bold jewelry. A soft knit does not need complicated styling. Old money elegance relies on balance, on letting each piece breathe. When you embrace restraint, your entire look begins to feel curated rather than decorated. You lean into subtlety, and subtlety reads as wealth, even when the pieces are affordable. But presence is not only physical. Emotional presence is equally important. A woman who feels overwhelmed, anxious, or uncertain often expresses it through her clothing: overly tight pieces, flashy choices meant to distract, trend-driven outfits chosen to compensate for insecurity. When you cultivate inner stillness, your wardrobe reflects it. You begin choosing clothing that supports your energy, not disrupts it. You learn to value fabrics that comfort you, colors that ground you, silhouettes that honor your shape. This emotional steadiness is what gives quiet luxury its signature softness. Old money elegance also involves a certain relationship with time. Women from those circles are never in a rush. Their calm creates the illusion of wealth. They do not run, they do not panic, they do not scramble. They leave early, they walk slowly, they move with dignity. This has nothing to do with financial privilege and everything to do with self-respect. Even on a budget, you can cultivate this energy. When you slow your pace, when you give yourself time, when you pause before speaking or rushing, your entire aesthetic becomes more refined. This presence extends to the way you handle your belongings. An elegant woman treats her coat, her bag, her shoes with gentleness. She hangs her garments carefully. She smooths her sleeves instead of tugging at them. She adjusts her hair with softness, not urgency. These small gestures accumulate into a woman who looks expensive without spending excessively. Her body language becomes a form of luxury. Facial expression matters too. Old money elegance carries a calm face. Not expressionless, but serene. A soft half smile. A gentle focus. Warmth without performance. Women who embody quiet luxury often appear deeply present. They listen fully. They do not scan the room for attention. They absorb the moment with composure. Even in a simple outfit, this presence makes them unforgettable. There is also a powerful psychological component to restraint. When a woman knows who she is, she does not need decoration to prove it. She does not need logos or excessive detailing. She does not dress to signal value. She dresses to express value. This difference changes everything. It makes her look composed, even in affordable clothing. Wealth is loud, but old money is quiet. And quiet confidence is accessible to every woman, regardless of budget. Presence also creates continuity in your wardrobe. When you carry yourself with poise, your clothing stops looking inexpensive. Even the simplest blouse becomes part of a harmonious whole because your energy elevates it. You become the frame. you become the point of elegance. The clothing simply supports your identity. Looking old money on a budget is a skill of perception, not consumption. It is the mastery of subtlety. It is the ability to move through a room with quiet dignity. It is understanding that luxury begins in behavior, not in spending. When you cultivate presence, posture, and restraint, you can step into an outfit from an accessible brand and make it feel like it belongs in a stately home. Elegance is not something you put on, it is something you become. Elegance is often spoken about as if it belongs to another world, a distant life, a certain class. But the truth is far more empowering. Elegance is not inherited, it is cultivated, it is chosen, it is lived. And when you begin to understand the deeper philosophy behind old money style, you realize it has very little to do with wealth and everything to do with the relationship you build with yourself. The 4 rules we explored are not fashion tricks. They are invitations to step into a more intentional, more mature, more grounded version of your femininity. Quiet fabrics teach you to value texture over trend. They encourage you to slow down and feel each garment before you bring it into your life. They remind you that softness can be luxurious, that weight can be comforting, that matte surfaces carry a kind of richness that synthetic shine never will. Quiet fabrics shift the energy of your entire wardrobe. They bring calmness to your mornings. They allow your skin to breathe. They become extensions of your presence rather than distractions from it. When you learn to choose fabrics that feel dignified, your wardrobe becomes dignified in return. Tailoring teaches you the power of refinement. It shows you that elegance is sculpted, not purchased. A garment that fits your body, honors your proportions, and supports your posture will always look more luxurious than an expensive piece worn without care. Tailoring is the language of women who take themselves seriously. It is the quiet act of saying, without words, that details matter, that you matter. A small adjustment at the waist, a refined shoulder line, a hem that stops exactly where it should. These subtle changes shift your entire silhouette into something more intentional. And intention is the essence of old money style. Color discipline teaches you balance. It shows you how harmony can elevate even the most affordable wardrobe. When you choose a palette that soothes rather than overwhelms, you create an atmosphere around yourself. You become recognizable not by logos or trends, but by consistency. Your wardrobe becomes a reflection of your emotional steadiness. You lean into tones that complement one another, tones that soften your features, tones that echo nature rather than plastic. Color discipline takes disorder and transforms it into elegance. It turns closets of confusion into closets of clarity, and clarity is inherently luxurious. And presence, posture, and restraint teach you the final truth about elegance. They show you that style is not external, it is embodied. It is the softness in your steps, the quiet in your gestures, the steadiness in your breath. It is the confidence to speak gently, the discipline to say no to excess, the emotional maturity to choose intention over noise. When you carry yourself with calmness, even the simplest outfit looks elevated. When your movements are unhurried, your clothing looks more refined. When you practice restraint, your entire aesthetic becomes more powerful. Old money style is a reflection of inner peace more than outer wealth, and presence is the bridge between the two. Together, these 4 principles form a wardrobe philosophy that transcends cost. They allow you to build a life and a style defined by self-respect rather than social expectation. You stop dressing for approval and begin dressing for alignment. You stop reaching for trends and begin reaching for fabrics that feel true to your skin. You stop trying to impress and begin trying to express. Everything softens. Everything becomes calmer. Everything becomes more intentional. And as you continue down this path, something beautiful happens. You begin to trust your eye. You begin to trust your choices. You begin to trust your taste. You no longer doubt whether an outfit looks expensive enough, on-trend enough, interesting enough. You no longer seek validation through labels. You no longer chase the aesthetic with urgency or desperation. You dress from a place of inner steadiness, and that steadiness radiates outward. This is why looking old money on a budget is so transformative. It forces you to cultivate self-awareness. It encourages you to slow down, refine your habits, and choose deliberately. It teaches you to buy fewer things and love them more. It teaches you to honor fabrics, fit, harmony, and presence. You become a woman who dresses with purpose, not impulse. A woman who knows her aesthetic deeply. A woman who makes even the simplest outfit feel meaningful. And this transformation does not stop at clothing. When you learn to choose quietly luxurious fabrics, you naturally begin choosing quiet moments in your life, slower mornings, softer routines, calmer reactions. When you tailor your clothing, you begin tailoring your habits. When you discipline your wardrobe colors, you discipline your environment. When you refine your posture and presence, you refine the energy you carry into every room. Looking old money on a budget becomes less about appearance and more about lifestyle. A life built on steadiness, intention, restraint, and inner wealth. Imagine yourself in a few months. Your wardrobe is smaller, calmer, more curated. Each piece feels like it belongs. You step into your day with an energy that is warm but grounded. Your colors align with your mood. Your fabrics comfort your skin. Your posture carries your confidence. People sense something different about you without ever being able to name it. It is elegance in its purest form, the quiet transformation of a woman who chooses herself. This journey is not about perfection. It is about evolution. It is about choosing quality where you can, refinement wherever possible, and presence always. It is about stepping into a version of yourself that feels timeless, mature, and deeply feminine. You do not need wealth to embody luxury. You need awareness. You need intention. You need softness balanced with discipline. You need the willingness to refine, to simplify, to grow into the kind of woman who looks elegant not because of what she wears, but because of the atmosphere she brings. And that, my classy lady, is how you look old money on any budget. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay classy.